Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Commanding the Market. I'm your host, Nathan Hale, the MTG Librarian, and I am joined by my, once again, and still favorite co-host, Trent Richardson.
Wow. Holding the title. Title's still there. It's fantastic. And you should send me a plaque. I've got plaques for lots of things in my life, but I don't have a plaque for this one yet. So
Now I'm on a budget. Will you take a ribbon?
Ribbon's fine.
Ribbon's
Yeah.
fine? Okay,
It
we'll
could
go
be
with
a
ribbon.
piece of yarn.
A random piece of yarn. Okay, I can
Yeah.
probably string that together.
Yeah.
Boom, boom.
So how's it going, man?
It's going pretty well, actually. Earlier this week, I ended up listing a whole bunch of cards on TCG, and I've sold at this point. I've had 20 plus sales this week.
Wow.
So that's good. I'm trying to hit the 100 sales in 90 days so I can be gold tier, which is going to open up a lot of opportunities for me to control my shipping costs, and also bring down the amount I have to pay to TCG on sales. So
Yeah.
I'm making a big push to do that. I'll keep you all posted on how that goes. So far, I think I've got 23 or 24 sales on the site. So yeah.
Cool. You should put a link in the description below so people who are watching can take a look at your store and, help you out, get to that goal.
If there's any particular cards you're looking for in there, definitely pick them up. I priced most of them to sell aggressively. Granted, at least half of them are red cards because I don't have much use for those. So if you're a red player, definitely check it out. Now we've got a kind of different episode this time. Mixing it up a little. We're kind of looking ahead. While everyone's eyes are currently focused on Commander Legends, we decided to do something a little different and look kind of a bit to the future here to Kaldheim.
Prost!
Looking to Kaldheim and maybe specking on the possibility that in such a Viking type set that maybe we're going to see a return to a snow-covered theme, which we did see a hint of that last year with Modern Horizons. Was that last year or year before? It was last year.
Last year. So, it's interesting, and the reason why I think, and we haven't talked about this, but I think the reason why Snow Covered's coming back is because of that Plane Chase card.
Which was Kaldheim.
Which was on Kaldheim.
Yeah.
And, it's got basically Vikings standing on top of a snowy mountain.
Mm-hmm.
So, who knows? Who knows? Yeah. It could be anything, but, that's why I think there could be some snow stuff going on here. What about you?
Yeah, when they said Viking set, when they said Kaldheim, it immediately made me think of the card, the plane from Plane Chase. And interestingly enough, about a year ago, the professor from Telerian Academy said he suspected the next new realm we would go to, a new plane we would go to, would be Kaldheim. He called it. I don't know if that was insider, probably not, but maybe. But either way, he called it. We're going to Kaldheim. And that to me said, okay, snow covered could be a thing. That could see a resurgence there. Now, there are that's literally one of the themes on EDH Rec when you look up. Snow is a theme. Just like Aristocrats or Landfall, it has its own theme. But unlike Aristocrats and Landfall, it does not have a ton of decks. I think there was 500 or 600 decks around a snow theme. It's not a heavily supported theme.
Yeah.
And other than Cold Snap and Modern Horizons, we've got Ice Age. I don't even know that Homelands or Alliances, which were in that block of Ice Age, even had snow covered as a theme in the cards that I can think of.
I can't recall.
Cumulative Upkeep was, but not snow covered. So it's a very niche theme at this point. However, we're going to Kaldheim, and it's looking to be a pretty cold place with Vikings. And I'm thinking snow covered could see a resurgence there. that being the case, right now, while everyone's fixated on Commander Legends, is the time to look at potential specs that revolve around snow covered. So we picked a few of them out. Most of these are around snow covered. There's one or two on the list that aren't, but they're from Cold Snap, and they either have cumulative upkeep or they kind of fit with the theme, and they're just generally good cards we think are currently overlooked that could be worth picking up. And this first one here on the list is one of those, actually. We'll get right into it here, and that's Hibernation's End. Why don't you tell them what it does?
So it's a enchantment for 4 and a green, has cumulative upkeep of 1 colorless mana, and whenever you pay Hibernation's End's cumulative upkeep, you may search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost equal to the number of age counters on Hibernation's End and put it into play. If you do, shuffle your library. So that's the thing with cumulative upkeep. You do have to put a age counter on it every time your upkeep comes around, and you have to pay that number times the cumulative upkeep.
Yeah.
So your first turn around the board, you're going to go get a 1-drop, and then the next time you get a 2-drop, and each time you're paying 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. So really, you're not losing anything. You're paying the amount of mana you would have spent on said creature, except you're kind of getting a discount because you're only paying colorless mana for it.
Well, not only that, you're also tutoring it out.
And you're tutoring it.
I mean, you're literally searching for, which, everyone knows when you have multiple creature tutors, it's a pretty easy way to put together a combo or a Rube Goldberg machine that's going to be maybe clunky, but certainly potentially hard to stop once it gets rolling. Now, the other thing that made me think about this card is we've seen several cards recently. One's a new card, and then they're from Commander Legends, and then there's an older card from Time Shifted or Time Spiral that has been jumping up quite a bit recently, and that's Paradox Haze, which is an enchantment for I think it's 2 and a blue. It might be 1 and a blue, and basically enchanted player has an additional upkeep. And then, of course, the other from Commander Legends is the 8-drop, so expensive, the mythic Sphinx of the Second Sun, which gives you not just an upkeep, but a draw step and an untap step as well. Right. So with those additional triggers on, additional upkeeps, you're able to get a 1 and a 2, then a 3 and a 4 on the following turn. If you have all 3 of these out, you get a 1, a 2, and a 3, then a 4, a 5, and a 6. So it can tango and tandem nicely with the decks that are wanting to get multiple upkeeps. Even like Sisay Weatherlight Captain with the Shrines deck. Those additional upkeeps give you additional triggers for your shrines. And a card like this, Hibernation's End, could easily slot into something like that, so long as it has sufficient creatures to tutor out with that.
Right.
Now, this card, currently it's run in a little over 500 decks. Like I said, it's not seen tons of play. None of these cards on here are really seeing massive amounts of play because, again, snow in general isn't a massive theme. But the market price on this right now is $1.67 with a mid of $1.54. Card Kingdom has them $1.79 out of stock. Also out of stock is Star City Games at $1.49. Channel Fireball has 3 in stock for $2. And then you can get near mint bulk on TCG Player for as low as 98 cents.
Mm-hmm.
And this card, a lot of the Cold Snap cards, in fact, the ones we'll be talking about today, they only saw printing in Cold Snap. So there's not a massive supply of these cards.
Mm-hmm.
So something like that needs to be taken into consideration. While yes, none of these cards will be reserve lists. This is after the reserve list wrapped, if you will. But I don't see a rush for them to reprint a lot of these cards either. So this might not be a bad one to pick up, Hibernation's End. But again, it doesn't directly correlate to the snow theme. So, right. But I did want to include it on here because the other cards recently that are carrying about upkeeps, such as the Sphinx of the Second Sun and Paradox Haze, which we've, as I mentioned, have seen massive gains in the last couple of months.
Yeah, that, and I mean, it's great in like a 4 or 5 color deck. especially when you may not have the exact amount of mana to spend on that. If you run
Color
this, you
wise,
could
yeah.
easily run a triple costed color card. I mean, if you really, really wanted to, it's probably not advisable, but you probably still could. Yeah, I think this card's great. Um, I think it could, whether you're playing in a snow deck or not. I mean, it's still a great card. I
Yeah.
mean, you're not losing much on it. The drawback is it. I mean, it does cost 5 mana to play it. So
Yeah, and it does nothing the turn it comes out, unless you're able to
yeah,
get that additional upkeep via the Sphinx. But I mean, that's a very niche circumstance indeed.
but in a sweet battle cruiser deck, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
seems pretty fun.
Hmm.
So the next one we got here is Haidar Rhymewind Master. Again, from Cold Snap. It is a 4 and a blue for a legendary human wizard, and it's a 3/3. Ability is 2 colorless, tap it, return target permanent to its owner's hand. Play this ability only if you control 4 or more snow permanents. So, I mean, this is a pretty sweet commander here. Basically, if you're running snow basics, he's always got the ability. So it's
Hmm.
just pay 2 and just boomerang something basically.
Any permanent, which
Um,
includes lands.
yeah, yeah. So pretty sweet little guy here, especially if you're wanting to build a snow themed deck. This is a pretty great commander for it.
Hmm.
Only problem being it will have to be mono blue,
Yeah.
which is a pretty big drawback. But even still, just as a card in the 99, still very well worth it.
As he costs
Um,
5 mana, typically if you're in a snow heavy deck, you'll have the
mhm,
4 snow permanents basically every time.
yeah,
There's some rare circumstances where you may not, because you soul ring or you ramped, with artifact ramp that might not count as snow permanents. Although there are even some snow permanent artifacts, which we'll be getting to, that could
sure.
help ramp him and cover that 4 or more snow permanents.
Right. So TCG has it for 27 cents on the market and 40 cents on the mid. And you can get them bulk around 26 cents. Card Kingdom has 5 in stock at 35 cents. Star City Games, 49 cents. Channel Fireball, 40 cents. We don't expect huge gains from this guy.
Mm-mm.
Probably little to none to speak of. This is going to be kind of a long term play here. If it doesn't get reprinted, I mean, it hasn't been reprinted in a long time and it's still
No.
sitting at 40 cents. So the odds of making any real money on this guy is
Yeah.
probably little to none. But at 27 cents to add it to your cart, if you need to get to that $5 mark for free shipping, it's a pretty sweet add into a snow deck if you feel the need to build one when Kaldheim comes out, if in fact
Yeah.
there are snow
If there's
uh,
snow. And
snow
again,
in
that's the
Kaldheim.
big spec we're making here is will
Yeah,
snow be there? This is definitely one this is our biggest long shot I think in the entire on
yeah,
the entire show today. He is a rare, but he is a really low cost rare as far as value goes. But he's one I would consider, like Trent was saying, like when you're on TCG, just if you're at somewhere and they happen to have it and you're already buying $5 or whatever worth of stuff and you're not paying shipping, throw it in the cart because at 25 to 30 cents, whatever you're paying for it, if snow becomes a huge thing with Kaldheim, then this is a card that could very easily go up to 50, 60, 75 cents. You'll already have your coffee. And if something really insane happens, because at 2 mana return target permanent to its owner's hand, there are already, like, for example, there's already ways you could break this in a Chu Lane deck, but what can't you break in a Chu Lane deck? But you could easily, with
yeah,
Hydar, go infinite with that ability if you're running something like Intruder Alarm, because you could turn any creature into a bounce effect, and so long as you got enough mana to recast that creature plus the 2. So it is a card that can go infinite if you're interested in doing that, but really ultimately it comes down to the snow side of this. If you're interested in playing in snow, he could be a good one just to pick up.
yeah. And I mean, it works pretty well with the MDFC lands too.
Yeah,
throw those in your deck.
that's true.
So actually, that's probably where, if this guy sees any kind of spike, that's where we're going to see it from, is if we get tons of snow
MDFCs,
synergies coming, and there's going to be MDFCs in
which we already
Kaldheim too.
know, which you already know.
So if there are snow MDFCs, then
That's a really good point, because then you're able to play that as a land early and later on have a really good bomb or spell for just paying 2 and bouncing that land back to your hand.
yeah,
That could be some good tech, and we do know there'll be modal DFCs. So modal DFCs that are snow as well, that could be really cool.
well, we've already seen cards like trade routes go up in value because it returns any permanent to your hand.
Well, it's
Or
not a land. Return a land for 1 to your hand.
okay, well, those cards that return any permanent to your hand, and specifically lands, have been going up lately. So maybe this is just late to the track meet.
Yeah.
We shall see. So this next one here is been my favorite card for a while now. I just love cards like this. Why don't you go ahead and take this one?
You sure? All right.
Yeah,
All right. I know
yeah.
you're a fan of it. I was kind of throwing that to you, but I'll talk about it.
It's cool.
So this card is Ice Fang Caudal from Modern Horizons. It's a blue and a green for a 1/1 flash flying snake. Snow creature snake specifically. And when Ice Fang Caudal enters the battlefield, draw a card. So it automatically replaces itself. 1/1 flying flash for 2 mana that replaces itself is already a solid card. But not only that, it has Death Touch as long as you control at least 3 other snow permanents. So this can help you reach your snow numbers by being a snow creature itself, but also it can basically be a flash Baleful Strix.
Yeah.
Which is really sweet, because it can basically combat trick, trade up easily, replace itself in the process. Now it's currently played in nearly 2,000 EDH decks. It has a TCG market price of $3.14 with a mid of $4.61. Card Kingdom has 8 in stock at $4.99. Star City Games has it in stock at $4.99. Channel Fireball has it in stock at $5, and TCG Near Mint bulk can be picked up as low as $3.68. Now, this card outside of Commander sees heavy play in Legacy as well as some Modern play. And I believe this card will see a jump in EDH if we see the return of snow-covered theme in Kaldheim. Because, for multiple reasons, I would not be surprised. I want to say I would not be surprised. I'd be disappointed in WotC if they did this, because they already had 2 landfall decks this year, just in the last 2 sets back to back. And I was like, we get it, landfall's popular, but move on. They did the Rogues, which I thought was cool, because they haven't really done a Rogues before. So if we see snow as a theme in Kaldheim, then I think there's a potential that we could see a commander deck or a commander that leans into snow covered. And if that were to happen, you're going to see a lot of these, because whenever there's a new commander deck with a commander, people get excited about building around that, and they look for cards that are going to fit in that theme. This one would be high on that list if it falls within those colors, because it's one of the better snow creatures out there. Now, this card, for a while, was hovering just prior to this year around the $8 mark. And it has actually been dipping down for basically all of this year, down to where it is now around the $3.14 market price. Now, what that says to me is we may be getting near or at the bottom for this card. And this could be a good time to pick these up, especially if we see any more. Because I guarantee you, if any set comes out that's doing snow covered, Modern Horizon 2 does snow covered again, we're going to see this card jump up again. It just will.
Yeah.
Interest will become renewed in snow covered, and this card will be one of the first that jumps.
Yeah, like you said, the reason why I love it, I love Baleful Strix. So what's not to love about a green and blue Baleful Strix that has flash?
Yeah.
In in Commander, it is super easy to just play all snow basics. I
Well,
mean,
and we're going to talk to this. You don't have to just run basics. There are dual snow lands or snow
yeah,
dual lands, which we'll get to.
yeah, we can go ahead and get to them. How about that?
All right, let's jump ahead a little. Let's jump
Yeah,
ahead a little.
yeah. So our next spec's going to be the 4
Five.
uncommon
There's the five. I only
allied duels.
yeah.
What's that?
There's five of them actually. I didn't put the fifth picture up, but there are five.
Right. Okay. So there. My bad. There's 5. I should have known that anyway. Um. Anyway, Arctic Flats, Frost Marsh, Highland Weald, Boreal Shelf, and Tressorhorn Sinks. So these guys are great because they're snow lands. They're dual lands. Now they do come into play tap like Guild Gates, but you can search them out. There's plenty of go grab a snow land out of your deck, cards out there, a couple of them.
And I mean, they're duels that are going to be snow. So if you're in snow
Yeah.
theme, you're going to want these for your
Yeah,
color
for sure.
pairing or however many you need.
Yeah. So near mint, there's not a whole lot of near mint copies of these guys. You can get decent prices on light play copies, but I mean, they might print the enemy cycle in Kaldheim because why don't those exist yet? I mean,
Yeah.
and if that's an indication to me more than anything that Kaldheim is going to be and have snow permanents because they didn't do it in Modern Horizons,
Yeah.
which is understandable because nopody wants to play
No,
a
it was
tap
tap
land in
land in Modern
Modern.
Horizons in Modern.
Yeah. But they can do it in Standard.
Oh yeah.
They can do it in Commander. So why not?
Mm-hmm.
You know? So yeah, I mean, right now TCG market has them from a range of about 40 cents to $1.29, depending on which one it is. Obviously the green ones are probably going to be less, and then the black and blue and white and blue are going to be a little bit more.
The black, blue, and actually the Boreal Shelf, the red black one, tend to be the most expensive. Boreal Shelf's about the middle of the road on that.
Okay. Card Kingdom, they do have a low stock, but average 70 to $1.50, 70 cents to $1.50. Star City Games has low to no stock and average 50 to $1.50. CFB, again, low, no stock, $1.50 a piece. And you can get them TCG bulk around 45 cents to $1.79.
And in most cases, outside of TCG, you're only able to find light play. Like, I think there was no near mint on almost any version in between Card Kingdom, Channel Fireball, Star City. If there was,
I imagine most of these are going to be from Draft Chaff and from back in the day, because I'm sure these would have been similar to Guild Gates as far as how often they were in packs and being drafted. So that would make a lot of sense. A lot of people don't, especially back then. A lot of people still weren't sleeving up their cards. And they certainly
not in draft.
Yeah, and they certainly were not playing with playmats back then. That was back then playmats were primarily only used by Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh players, and Magic players thought that they were for kids and trash.
Yep. So I have a feeling if we see in Kaldheim a printing of the enemy dual cycle, we're going to, because if they're doing that, then they're doing a snow theme, and all of these cards I think could easily double up overnight. All of these uncommon dual lands of the allied cycle.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, there's nothing saying they wouldn't reprint also those and just give us a new enemy cycle and allied. We don't know. Henceforth, these are specs. But I think it's kind of fair to say that there's a good chance in most cases where they've only printed one half the cycle, they don't reprint that cycle plus the other half of the cycle in the same set. Typically, they'll just give the other half. So I think they're still kind of safe to pick up. And if nothing else, if you're thinking I may want to run a snow deck when Kaldheim comes out, or down the road, Right now, they're the cheapest they're likely ever going to be, barring a reprint of these cards. So you might want to pick up just a set of each, just a one of each of them if you're thinking maybe a 5-color or any combination of color of snow deck.
Sure. So we'll keep on this trajectory with lands here. And the
Lands are
next one we
good.
got here is the heaviest of the hitters in this
Mm-hmm.
episode. Scrying Sheets. It's a
Oh,
snow
yeah.
land. It adds a colorless mana to your mana pool with the ability of 1 and a snow mana. So you have to tap
Hey,
a
there's no
snow
mana like
land.
snow mana.
There is there's snow mana like snow mana.
Yeah.
So you tap 1 in a snow land and tap it. Look at the top card of your library. If that card is snow, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. Pretty sweet.
Yeah, if you're
So
that's a
following Modern
must-have.
Horizons, yeah. So following Modern Horizons, this card saw a jump in price to about $25, which is completely understandable. You got Ice-Fang Quaddle, Dead of Night or
Yeah.
Dead of Winter.
Dead of Winter. There's just
I mean,
a ton of snow payoffs.
tons of snow payoffs. And it's only just recently began to climb in price after losing half its value. So, we went from 25 back down to like $12.50, $13,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're just starting to see it tick back up. And right now, we're sitting at market price of $15.18, mid of $15.25 on TCG. Card Kingdom out of stock at $15.99. Star City Games is out of stock at $12.99. Channel Fireball has them for $15. They do have 3 in stock currently. TCG Light Play Bulk as low as $13.11. You're probably not going to find these for less than like 16, 17 near mint.
I think I saw a couple on TCG near mint around, but not in bulk, around the $14-15 mark, but it was single pickup here or there. But regardless, again, this card's never seen a reprint. It's only printed in Cold Snap. It is a rare. It is a rare that also sees play in Modern and Legacy. It's a fairly played and known card. It's probably the best known snow card out there because that's a ton of value if you are running all snow. Even if you're just playing snow basics or snow basics, you've got a really good chance. Yeah. About a 1 in 3 chance typically in EDH of hitting a land, and there you go. Yeah, 2 mana, you drew a land off the top.
Yeah, it's definitely in the number 1 auto include for any kind of deck based around snow lands, snow cards in general. So, yeah, now's the time to get on it. I don't see it coming down much from here unless it gets reprinted in Kaldheim, which
could happen.
Very well could.
Well, I thought about this though. I don't think they want. This is just off the top of the dome. I don't play Standard, so I don't know. But I don't know if they want to land with this kind of potential power in Standard. Because if Snow is strong enough in its own right to give it this kind of a land, could push it over the top. I don't know though. I'm just spitballing. I don't play Standard.
Yeah, you could be right, but the problem is every time they print Snow, it's it's decent and limited, but it never quite gets there in Standard or constructed. So
outside of the Legacy, the older formats that can abuse it because they have access to the wider range, things like
exactly.
So
they're not too scared to reprint it for Modern or Legacy. Now they might be too scared to print it for, let's say, I guess that wouldn't matter either, Pioneer, because Modern Horizons isn't Pioneer. Yeah. So, I don't see a reason why they wouldn't. Now, of course, I'm not on the R&D team, and I don't know what else is in the set, and I don't even know if Snow's in the set. But based on history, I don't know. I don't see why they wouldn't, but they've done crazier things. So
they have. If we've learned nothing from this year, there's not much they're afraid to reprint at this point.
True.
So let's see. We got let's stick with the lands here, and let's stick with the snow lands at that. This next one's an uncommon, also from Cold Snap, called Mouth of Ronem. And it's played right now on only about 1,000 decks. And it is a land that taps for a colorless, doesn't enter tapped. And you can pay 4 and a snow and tap it, sacrifice it to have it deal 4 damage to target creature, which is just a decent utility land that can deal with a potential threat. It's going to cost you a bit, but the fact that it's coming on a land that doesn't enter the battlefield tapped, while yes, it's not fixing your mana as far as color goes, it's not costing you a lot to slot this if you're already in a snow theme, because it's providing you with yet another snow permanent for essentially free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a good include simply for that. The ability on there is...
It's a bit pricey, but
yeah, it's not
I'll
great.
be honest, there are games where if I had the ability to just instant speed, sack a land and pay 4 or 5 to get rid of that one thing, I would gladly do it if I could.
Yeah.
So
I mean, assuming you're keeping up 6 mana for a whole turn cycle, I mean, just to deal 4 damage to a creature.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what you're doing in your decks, but I'm not doing that in mine.
No, this isn't something where I necessarily would keep it up for the turn cycle, but I'd like to know it's there as insurance.
Sure.
And again, if it entered tapped, I wouldn't even consider it, but it doesn't actually enter tapped.
Yeah. Otherwise, yes, fair that it is a snow permanent, and it's kind of a free include. You know, I mean, especially
unless you're in heavy mana. If you're like a 3, 4, 5 color snow, I wouldn't do that. That could hurt you.
It's a little bit more difficult to do that. So the last one we got here.
Oh, well, let's talk real quick. So TCG market on it is 83 cents, same as the mid. But this is what I want to point out.
Prices on this show.
I know it's kind of weird. I know, but Card Kingdom here has it at $1.29, but you're not going to get it there because they're out of stock. So go over to Star City Games where they got it for 75 cents, except they're also out of stock. So go over to Channel Fireball. It's going to cost a little more. It's $1.30 there, but they have 1 in stock. But you can go to TCG and get near mint bulk for as low as 60 cents. So that is the clear choice. But I do like to point out that they are sold out basically across the board at the other major suppliers there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Makes
again,
sense.
just printed in Cold Snap. So unless it's a reprint, that's an easy for them to reprint in a Commander thing that's snow themed, though. I wouldn't be surprised if they throw that in because they love to just throw, honestly, cheap, uncommon lands in those things. So
Sure.
So this last one here.
Yeah, so the last one here is a longly used 2 mana rock in Commander. Extremely popular, but not because it's a snow artifact, but because it's Cold Steel Heart. Costs 2 colorless mana, comes in the battlefield tapped. You choose a color, and then you can tap it for the rest of the game for that color you choose. Pretty sweet 2 mana rock. Now, at this point in time, there's better 2 mana rocks available. But if you're playing on a snow theme, this is your best 2 mana rock available. It's an easy include into any snow deck for sure. And it's going to be your second or third best mana rock you can have in your deck.
Yeah.
So talk about pricing here. TCG Market has it for $2.61. Mid's the same. You can get them bulk for $3.29. Near mint. You can get them a little less than that, but there was only 4 bulk listings on TCG Player. 1 for 4, 1 for 8, 1 for 4, and 1 for 12, I believe. So a total of about 28 total near mint copies in bulk on Cold Steel Heart here, least of which is $3.29 a piece. Card Kingdom has plenty in stock, $3.99. Star City Games, $2.49. Channel Fireball, $3.50. And now those last three places, they all kind of range from their Mystery Booster, Cold Snap, Commander, 2015 Anthology 2 or 3, whichever one it was.
Two.
They have, they've got a wide range of stock and playability scales on all of them. So, but they're all about the same price. So
and this card is played currently in about 10,000 EDH decks because it is actually still a very good 2-drop rock. Yes, your talismans and your signets are typically better. This does have the nice versatility that if you're in a 5-color or 4-color though, you pick the color, so you can actually be off. You got 3 of your 4 colors. This can get you there, whereas a talisman or a signet outside of Arcane Signet may not get you there.
Yeah, especially if you're in that awkward scenario, which you need a certain color of mana and you have to tap that colored mana land for using the signet. Yeah. Those just feel bad.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we were, wanting to kind of herald in or usher in the winter with a snow-themed episode, if you will, to get you all thinking about, we're looking back over this year, but we also need to remember to look forward. And I'm looking forward to what's going to come in Kaldheim because I'm all about me some Vikings. And I do hope that we do see more supported snow theme and snow covered in Kaldheim. But even if we don't, I'm looking forward to it all the same.
Yeah, me too. I'm still worried because if it is a snow set, man, history tells us that snow sets just are bad. They're just bad. Except for Modern Horizons. Modern Horizons was good, but I wouldn't consider Modern Horizons a snow set.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly the snow cards that made Modern Horizons great. There was one or two, but
I hope that WotC has learned their lesson from the last 2 times they've circled around this block and give us some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Because for having to have a special land in your deck, for having to have special permanent types in your deck, I mean, the payoffs have just been underwhelming. I mean, really, they just have. So hopefully we get some, and that's, again, the whole reason for this episode is we think they're going to print snow permanents in Kaldheim, and if they do, they hopefully have learned their lesson, and they're going to keep the power creep going.
Yeah,
and give us some sweet snow cards finally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'd love to see some, powerful, really powerful. So in Dominaria, we had some incredibly powerful spells that were legendary and required a legendary permanent to cast, and they were incredibly powerful, but they limited the power by requiring that you have a legend in play. So I could see them doing, I would hope they could try doing something similar to that to create some very powerful or maybe greatly undercosted powerful spells, like a wrath effect that costs 2 but you got to have 5 snow permanents or something like that, where they can push the power level but with the caveat that it requires this limitation to help force creative deck building. I would like to see that.
I would too. And they have spells that depend on permanents being snow permanents, but they don't have, like you mentioned, Dominaria, they don't have like a snow spell, that has a type cast snow, at least not to my knowledge anyway.
Well, not in Dominaria. You're referring to in like Cold Snap and stuff. Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I mean, I know they did like the spells for like creature types. So like a tribal spell. I know they did tribal spells at one point.
Yeah. So you're thinking like a snow tribal, almost like spell.
Yeah, kind of like snow sorcery or whatever. Could be neat to see.
Yeah.
Whether we see that or not, probably not. What we're most likely to see is like a snow MDFC, where one side is just a regular sorcery or instant or creature or whatever, and the other side is like a snowland,
Which I'd be all about
which
that.
is cool.
Yeah.
But could be neat. I'm pretty excited to see what they're going to do with it. I'm just again hoping that they swing for the fences because man, a snow commander deck would be so cool because right now they just are terrible.
Yeah.
But we shall see.
We shall see. So I think that about wraps it up for this episode. It's kind of a short one. We hope everyone has had a good holiday. Thanksgiving just passed, and we've got Christmas coming up. I hope you all are staying safe this holiday season. I hope you already got your lists into Santa Claus because I hear the mail's run a little behind. So you want to make sure you get those lists in early to make sure you get everything you're asking for from Santa. Or Santana or Satan or whoever it is you write it to. I'm kind of dyslexic, so I get those letters mixed up. But whatever the case, I certainly hope and I pray that your card draw is plentiful and may your mana never be screwed. Not just this holiday season, but always and ever onward.
And when he says pray, he means Prey, not AY.
Yeah, what's the other one even mean? I'm not sure. I'm an Aristocrats vampire player a lot, so it's all food to me.
Funny stuff, man. Well, again, guys, I just want to reiterate the same thing. I hope you guys are staying safe this holiday season, and may the odds ever be in your favor as we reach the second anniversary of the Hunger Games.
And this year's going to be coming to a close. We got a few more episodes before the close of the year in 2020. Let's hope 2021 is much better than this year has been, at least as far as the world. There's been some good stuff this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you enjoy the content, please be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Share this with your friends who play Magic. Share it also with, I don't know.
Yeah. Timmy, the Toolman Taylor down at the Breeze joint where you're eating your tacos and your taco salad with your mask on. Oh, yeah. And you gotta have like two masks and then you do this,
Oh,
so but also your mommies, your daddies, your sisters, your brothers, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, your great uncles,
you'll be seeing all of them this Christmas. So
yeah, hopefully you guys are playing Secret Santa with all those people in your family because it gets expensive after a while, and I know that's what we're doing this year, and I'm so thankful for that. And anyhow, keep staying tuned, guys. We got more stuff to come. And again, let us know what you think. Let us know what you'd like us to talk about. Let us know if you got any cool specs. Let us know if you think we suck. And have a good night.
All right.
Keep commanding the market.
Peace.